Welcome to the third match of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're on Proxima Station and spawning to the top right-hand corner in green. Playing Protoss for Psystorm and the US. It's Poizon. And to the bottom left, in teal, playing Zerk. For the US as well, we have NoveaStar doing the double extractor trick. And I don't really think that's her actual clan. I think Novea just... Did Novea change clan from Hush to somewhere else? Actually, if you want to know that, and I should have looked at that before the stream, you can have a look at the FSL webpage under players and maybe tell me in chat. What clan Novea is in right now. It might still be Hush. Some players just changed teams during the season break, and some players even gained a new one. So it might be that Novea is still on Hush, but maybe not. I think she changed and asked me to change it on her profile, but I forgot to what. So just have a look at the beautiful FSL webpage and tell me in chat which clan she's in right now. So, Poizon actually going for a really fast Nexus here, just knowing that it's a backdoor expansion and she will probably be it will probably be fairly easy to defend it. I mean, yes, there's backdoor rocks, but you can always plant a pylon down here. Make sure to see when Lynx try to nibble through this, and then just send the Mothership Core over here in order to take them down. So it's not really that risky, and the main ramp is pretty small as well, so you can always just seal off with 2 buildings and a Zealot, or an Adept, or a Stalker, or even a Probe if necessary, or just wall off completely with another pylon. So, in the meantime, we also have a hatchery going down for Novea, so actually good call there by Poizon to go for the greedy opening, because she was expecting her opponent to just do the same, since early rushes in this game are really difficult to pull off for Zerk, although you have to say that there's a good possibility for Overlord Ling drops from coming in from here, and maybe even in addition to that coming in from here as well. So maybe even doing the double-pronged harassment, which actually Suno did, I think against Koshki, in the FSL Season 2 playoffs in the semis. Yeah, I think that was this map here. Unfortunately, on this map, it didn't work out as well as she would have liked to, but it's still a possibility to get inside a Protoss's base, even though they think it's completely wall off and no one will ever get in. Actually going for a full off here, right? No, never mind, there's the gap over here. So doesn't matter. So then actually what I showed was incorrectly, because if you wanted to seal it off, you would plant the pylon down here. And the Zealot is of course now blocking this entrance over here. So Probe still chasing, Drone still chasing Probe. Novea really doesn't want that pesky Probe to plant down anything close to her own base that she's not aware of. In the meantime, the Overlord is already in position, has not seen the early Nexus yet, so Novea does not really know about it. Is sending in an Overlord over here, or just placing it in position, maybe later on in order to drop something, but probably just to move in and get the tech scouted, which is actually a Stargate for Poizon. Now maybe we will see her infamous Oracle, Mars Oracle build here. So let us see. Poizon in the meantime has just got a good check around the base, has seen the Spore Crawler being positioned. So very early Spore Crawler there by Novea, but she knows her timings. She really wants to make sure that nothing, especially not an Oracle or 2, flies into her base and kills off more drones than necessary. Has not taken a third base yet, is actually quite late with her own third bases there. Yeah, has now finally managed to see... Oops, oh, sorry, no! I'm sorry for that. That should have actually not happened. So, just jumped a little bit back, but we will just catch up in a few seconds here. Okay, has not sent in the Overlord. Does the Overlord know? That was actually the hotkey I really wanted to press. Does still not actually know about the base, is probably assuming that there is one, but has not confirmed by vision. So, Evolution Chamber going down. So, like I said, we could see Overlord drops, but by now Poizon has already seen all of the Overlords hanging around her base and is trying to take them out. I mean, the Overlords are still alive, but they have been spotted. So I really think that an Overlord drop will not succeed whatsoever, and I don't think that Novea really wants to do it. And she's producing a lot of Zerglings, so maybe she actually does want to go for it. But then, of course, Poizon is already producing a lot of Phoenixes, and these Phoenixes will have an easy time shooting down all of these Overlords. Yeah, it seems as if Novea actually wants to either break through these rocks or just wants to plant them into these Overlords. We will see whether she morphed them into Dropperlords or not in just a few seconds. But with that amount of links, I definitely think she wants to go for a double-pronged harassment attack. Now just moving backwards. Has she seen anything that's coming her way? No. Just retreating. Probably has realized that it won't really work out the way... Okay, or has probably... No, Poizon has not shot down anything with the Phoenix. It has not even shown them right now. So, okay, seems as if Novea just changed her mind and is now going for a third hatchery down here. Is taking her third base a little bit earlier than her opponent, but not all too early. Going into a Spire, which is already counted, but all the Phoenixes that Novea unfortunately does not know anything about. So maybe Poizon actually even playing her opponent here quite a bit, because Novea has been known to like a muta-heavy style. So if Poizon actually prepared for that match beforehand, she was probably aware of Novea loving her mutas, and thus was maybe going for this opening deliberately in order to counter it right from the get-go. So, we have a few links moving across the map. We also have a few Phoenixes moving across the map, can now move in, trying to take out maybe a queen, maybe a few workers. There are spore crawlers around, but there's always a chance to just pick something up and take it out before the spore crawlers deal too much damage here. So in the meantime, we have Novea attacking up the front, taking out a Stalker, taking out another one, now trying to take down the Nexus, but the Adepts are there with the Mothership Core and will drive away the Lynx for now, saving this Nexus. In the meantime, we have the Phoenixes still running around, picking up another Queen here, and now even having killed 2 Queens, these Phoenixes have already gotten a lot of worth out of each other, or out of them. Actually, Poizon has gotten a lot of worth out of these Phoenixes, never mind. But Novea has reacted quite quickly. She still has the Spire and has realized that Mutaplay will not be as effective, but of course the Corruptors will help her out quite a bit in order to drive away these Phoenixes from the rest of her army. Trying to get in with the Lynx once more, trying to take out the third base over here, but does not succeed so. I think she really should consider taking a fourth of her own, but she's probably not, because she still needs to saturate the base over here, not even having a Spore Crawler to help out. But finally, the Corruptors arrive, and if Poizon is not careful, she might even lose 1 or 2 Phoenixes in the process here. Yeah, Phoenix is now attacking immediately. Poizon unfortunately not paying attention here, and now finally moving them back. Has already lost 2 of them, and almost 1 Corruptor died. Not really. Okay, the 1 Corruptor survives with, let's have a look, with 6 hit points actually, or 8. Okay, has already regenerated a little bit. There. Okay, still, woo, oh, very daring here by Poizon, just using the mobility of the Phoenixes here in order to get the Overseer killed, but it doesn't get killed, again, a little bit unlucky here for her, just missing that Corruptor by a little bit, and then the Overseer as well. And there we have it, Novea just loving her mutas, trying to get a few more out of them, a few of them out, while Poizon is actually not really building more and more of these Phoenixes, now going into Void Rays, knowing that there are some heavily armored air units out. She wants to have some anti-air, anti-armor air unit, which the Void Ray is excellent as. So, Novea in the meantime trying to make use of the mobility of her flying forces here, with the Mutas and the Corruptors protecting them against the pesky Phoenixes. Now trying to take out that pylon over here. Doesn't really want to fly too far into that photon cannon. Takes it out now by killing that structure over here. In the meantime, we have a little bit of attack here by a hallucinated Phoenix, so nothing all too problematic. The a little bit of miss micro here by NoveaStar though, just flying around, not attacking at all, right into these Void Rays. Void Rays just charging up, killing a lot of these Corruptors. They're actually almost all of them. Only 3 remain, but 2 are hard, are just damaged very, very hard. Very strongly. So she has to retreat for now, and Poizon actually is in a good position here. She has more drones, or more workers, sorry. She has 3 Nexuses, the same as her opponent, which is always a situation a Zerg never wants to be in. you usually just want to have more bases. Now she tries to compensate for that by taking a 4th at the rich mineral fields, so that she will have a lot more minerals available. But I actually think she should even invest into a 4th, or into an immediate 5th over here, because her opponent is on even bases with her right now. And like I said before, that's a situation you never want to be in as Zerg. You usually just want to be at least 1 base ahead of your opponent, which he is not right now. So Poizon's army will just get bigger and bigger, while her own army is just not trading as cost efficiently as the Protoss army. So if you just want to overwhelm the opponent, the Protoss opponent, by sheer force and masses, you just need the means in order to produce these masses. And if you just do not have enough bases, meaning you have enough lava, meaning you have enough resources to build units from, then it's quite difficult for Zerg to actually overwhelm the opponent with the typical mass play. So, fortunately for her, that she caught Poizon's army a little bit out of position, getting right into the natural base. Poizon's army was just busy protecting the potential, or the 4th base going up at the gold field, the gold mineral fields. So, whoa, Novea actually just investing a lot of resources into Zerglings here. Zerglings not really that effective against what Novea has. I mean, she has a lot of sentries in the mix. She also has at least 1 Archon, a lot of Stalkers, so you would really need an excellent surround with even more units coming in order to kill this force. Yes, the Mutas would probably help. We almost have 24 of them in the group, plus the additional Corruptor here and there. But yeah, the Void Rays, the Stalkers, the Archons, I mean, in a direct engagement it might be pretty problematic. Depends on the sentries firing up their Guardian Shields, because they wouldn't just take away from the damage of the Mutas by quite a bit. But Novea, again, just trying to make use of the big mobility, the stronger mobility of her own forces, just flying in, killing off buildings here and there without getting caught anywhere. So it seems as if Poizon just has had enough and doesn't really want to play the ring around the rosy game anymore. So she just walks toward the 4th base and forces her opponent to confront her, if she dares so. Just making gestures. Come here. The climactic come here, no you, come here gestures. And now finally it seems as though they might get a good surround, but the Lings just melt away so quickly against the forces. The Mutas are just raining some damage from above, but it takes them so long until they finally manage to kill off all of the damage dealers. But Poizon has retreated for now. Novea has managed to take out the forces of Poizon. But, and that is the big but here, she has lost almost all of her forces and has lost her important 4th base, while Poizon has easily managed to get her own 4th up, has secured it with a lot of photon cannons everywhere, has some Stalkers in place. So with the remaining army she has, with the Mutalisks here, she will probably not be able to take out that base whatsoever. Even with the Corruptors pissing Poison from above onto this Nexus, it will probably not be enough, since these photon cannons and Stalkers would probably just shoot everything down. And we also have some Phoenixes in the mix as well. So, okay, Novea again just trying to fly into the main base, trying to deal some damage that her opponent can't really deny her. But the Phoenixes are again just flying around. Novea tries to bring the Corruptors between the Phoenixes and her own Mutas, and doing it quite successfully here, while also killing a few more units here. The Archon arrives, fires 1 or 2 shots into the flock, but doesn't kill them all. Still, it seems that Novea's Muta count has been diminished here, and now Poizon finally warps in more Stalkers. May even be able to take down another Corruptor. Okay, Novea realizes that these are not enough Stalkers in order to take on her Mutas. Sends them in, tries to kill them, but there are more Stalkers being morphed in or warped in right from behind. And now actually catching these Mutas in between. Okay, Mutas trying to deal more damage over here. Yeah, Novea tries to buy herself some more time, tries to get more Mutas up. It's just producing Mutas like crazy. Unfortunately, while these Mutas try to reinforce her main force, they just have to fly across this base here, flying through a lot of photon cannon fire and dying before they can actually eventually join the main army, while Poizon is now firing up for an overcharge, is firing with Phoenixes from the left-hand side, and all of the Mutas have now died inside the main base. Only a few Corruptors managed to get away, but the Phoenixes will intercept them and eventually just tear them down, and that was it of Novea's army here, I think I have to say. Not much more she can do right now, only 3 mutas remain. She's having 4 more in the production line, but what does she want to accomplish with them? I mean, two Phoenixes have survived, we have Archons, we have Stalkers. Poizon's army is just way bigger than that of her opponents. They have similar drone count or worker count, and since Novea has finally managed to take her retake her fourth base, the income is actually quite close to each other. But yeah, I mean, Poizon is mining the same amount as Novea is, but she still has some standing forces. She might be able to deal some damage with this. It seems as if Poizon is expecting that Novea has another base over here, so she wants to tear it down, and will actually be able to take down a base over here, because Novea is just trying to take one. Has not realized that there's a 5th base down here yet. And in the meantime, Novea just tries to get up a few more forces, just in case Poizon should decide to walk across the map and kill her. Of course, Poizon cannot really know how much her forces her opponent actually has. Her army is kinda okayish in a direct engagement against mutas now, especially with the Archons in there, but it's still kind of risky to engage the mutas head-on, especially with some link support where most of the units are not actually shooting the mutas, but mostly shooting the links here. But yeah, links will get toasted away by the Archons fairly easily. We have a lot of Phoenixes in the mix as well, so it should be easy to deal with the mutas too. And yeah, the Zealots actually taking out the base over here, now getting gnawed away by the Zerglings, but it seems as if Novea will not be able to deny that base over here. The Phoenix is just moving around, firing on these mutas, not having better upgrades though, but just having the additional bonus damage against, or the additional bonus damage, yeah, the bonus damage against, and there it is! The other base goes down. Novea realizes she does not stand a chance against the forces, and Poizon takes the first map. Welcome to Abyssal Reef. Spawning to the top left-hand corner in green, playing for Psystorm, we have Poizon. And to the right-hand corner in teal, we have our Zerg player NoveaStar. Going for the extractor trick once more. And Poizon going for the early scout, not waiting for a base. It's, I think, a good idea on this map, since the rush distances are pretty short, and you really want to know if your opponent is going for an early pool or not. So Poizon rather wants to have that info as quickly as possible, and sends across the probe here. Maybe also wants to deny the base here, if she can, but will not succeed so. So there goes, the hatch goes down. Poizon just trying to move around. Is she going for a forge? Nope, going for a gateway. Would have been actually quite interesting if she actually wanted to cannon rush her opponent. Would have probably worked out quite nicely here. So cannon rush, an often underestimated tactic by Zerg. Have to be careful with those cannon rushes. So, Novea just again chasing away the probe here, wants to make sure that Poizon is not using it to plant down any proxy pylons anywhere. While in the meantime she just gets her own spawning pool after the extractor, just the usual stand opening for Zerg, trying to get the expansion up as early as possible, and then going into some units that will help her to defend some early pushes that might probably come her way. So gateway is done. We already have the nexus down as well. A bit of a risky nexus on Abyssal, since it's kinda difficult to really wall off that area here. You would usually have to like wall off this part and this part, or you could just always sometimes go for a complete wall off around here. But yeah, you need a lot of buildings to do that, and a lot of time and a lot of resources in addition to that. So yeah, it's kind of risky to get an early nexus, but very often you just get through with it, especially once you manage to get a pylon down here, and then you will have the possibility to photon overcharge and just secure your own base with a zealot in the gap that leads outside your base towards your natural. So in the meantime, Novea not really thinking of any sorts of link pushes, but she goes for a quick rotorn here. So seems as if this time around she wants to go for a 2-base timing push with roaches and ravagers. Or maybe she just wants to be safe against adepts. But no, this is only links, not a worker. So with the links she just wants to walk around, maybe wants to intercept this probe before it will be able to scout anything important. But Poizon will see that there's no third base yet, and that is a little bit unusual for a capable Zerg player to not have a base at that point in time, because it usually means that you want to go for some sort of early pressure. So let's see how she actually reacts. And I think I really like this idea by getting a sentry up pretty early on. The sentry alone will not help her defend this push. I mean, yes, she can always just close this ramp for a few seconds, but the Zerg army could always just take down rocks. Of course, it would take time and buy her some time in order to get a few more forces out. The army could also just move in around here, but it would also take some time. The only thing that's really scary is if the army just comes in from the left flank straight away and you haven't sealed it off by then. That can really hurt you. So let's see what she wants to do. First 4 roaches in production. She also wants to get +1 missile attack. So going for very, very strong timing here. But it seems as if she wants to do it without speed, because she's not transitioning into a lair. And she would need lair in order to get the roach speed from the roach worm. So yeah, seems as if she, well, is not really all in, but she is committing to this push quite a bit. And needs to deal damage accordingly. If she doesn't manage to deal significant damage, this game will probably be over for her. So, like I said, this is the one scary thing if your opponent just comes in from the left-hand side right from the get-go. Forge is almost down, probably just to get some upgrades. I don't think she will build a lot of cannons like Jailbreaker did. So, trying to tear down that Overlord here to get it down so it won't provide vision to the high ground, and of course it might even make NoveaStar supply capped. So we have a lot of roaches over here that already got morphed into Ravagers. As I said, more and more roaches moving across the map, but it takes quite some time. And yeah, I mean, the longer Novea actually waits to move in with the units she has, the longer she waits for the other units to arrive at the front, the more all-in she actually gets. Because with every unit she produces and sends across the map, she is just losing income. And the possibility to get a third early on. So, like I said, the longer she waits, the more damage she will actually need to do. Let's see how much damage she will actually be able to do. It's almost, I mean, at that point she almost needs the damage to be game ending. So, force fields are not really a matter, since she has Ravagers that can always destroy force fields. But of course, then you will have 1 corrosive bile less to fire into the army of your opponent. So it's still, of course, useful to throw down a force field. Maybe even throwing down a force field after your opponent has already spent all of her corrosive biles, because then there won't be corrosive biles left for quite some time in order to get rid of that force field. But that force field didn't really deal that much, or didn't really do that much. So far she just lured her opponent into the photon overcharge here. Novea just stands there. Tries to attack some of these buildings, tries to deal as much damage as she can. Finally, a few more roaches arrive, but it seems as if Novea already wants to retreat at that point in time after having lost quite a big amount of roaches and Ravagers already. Will probably even lose that roach over here. No, Poizon just, yeah, one of these stalkers just moving by itself. Not really obeying orders. Well, actually, he wasn't assigned an order, so it's not really his fault. And Novea's just keeps producing more and more roaches, now finally getting into a lair, maybe wants to transition into mutas right behind it, since she's just the muta-ing player, but we'll see, maybe wants to get the roach speed a little bit later as well. For now is only containing her opponent, but containing is only of worth if you take a base of your own, so if you make something out of the contain, but if you just contain your opponent, letting him get, or letting her in this case, get stronger, yeah, the contain doesn't really work. Oh, no, we have the move command! Ooh, very unfortunate there for Novea. Wanting to move all of her army back to her main base, or to a natural base probably, and the AI just made a big chunk of Roach and Ravager using this path instead of the other way around, and so they just move right into Poizon's army, getting taken out without any without putting up a fight at all. So that was really unfortunate there for Novea, since she really needed a lot of forces in order to keep this. Yeah, Novea just realizes that she's behind economically. She really needs to take 2 bases at once, since her own have almost bleeded out. But in the meantime, we have Poizon smelling her opportunity. sniffing out the weakness that NoveaStar obviously has right now, will easily take out that hatchery over here. Gets cancelled, but of course now actually Novea's own units were out of position. If Poizon had moved a little bit more quickly over here and then just even planted down a force field, she might have even cut off her opponent. Of course she couldn't know that, but yeah, with a quick reaction that could have been horrible for Novea there. So okay, now trying to engage this army, which is a little bit problematic. You have to engage through the, or Poizon would have to engage through the choke point here, with Novea having the better concave and also the possibility to rain down Ravager Biles. So that would have been pretty problematic, but now the units are just moving around, and Novea has just lost her other third base, and that just causes infinite problems. I don't even know where to start. Now desperately trying to get another base, but it will probably get scouted by Poizon once more. Yeah, and will get taken out, maybe even not cancelled here. Ooh! Losing 300 minerals once more. So, I don't really know. I mean, there's just nothing speaking for Novea right now. Her supply is looking okay-ish. Her workers are still kind of even. But, again, the biggest problem, her opponent has a third and she doesn't. It's not even in the making. I mean, Novea would need to make so much damage with this next push that, again, I mean, she most likely needs to end the game with this next push, or she will just be so infinitely behind. And I think that's what she actually wants to do. No, okay, tries to take a third base right behind it once more, while in the meantime Poizon is going for her signature unit, the DT, by building a Dark Shrine. So Ravagers and Roaches, not really capable of moving across, not really moving up that ramp, but yeah, engaging into that third base would be as suicidal too. Trying to get more Ravagers here. Maybe some good Ravager hits might help her to fight against this army. It's mostly Stalkers. Roaches and Biles, not that bad against Biles, but Poizon already has Blink, so can even make the most out of her units. Yeah, and Novea realizes straight away, I cannot really win that engagement against Blink Stalkers with the few units that I have. But unfortunately, Ravagers, really clunky, really fat units. If you want to retreat with Ravagers, especially against Blink Stalkers, you will end up losing quite a lot of them. So yeah, full out retreat by Novea, just panically, or all of their units just panicking, trying to retreat as good as possible. But where to? I mean, she can retreat to the third base, but there's nothing there. Just sending a few more Roaches over here, 7 more Roaches in the making, 2 more Ravagers in the making as well. In the meantime, more Ravagers dying to all of these Blink Stalkers. And now the army of Poizon is standing anti-porters, taking out a lot of these Ravagers here. Yeah, and with a Blink, I think she should even win the straight-up engagement here. If she just blinks correctly, I mean, she just has to wait for a cooldown once more. But once she just moves in and blinks correctly, just blinks back the injured units, she should easily be able to take out that force. She will now just be satisfied with taking out that base over here, just denying another base, or just denying Novea another base over here. This one is at least down, but it's also still pretty vulnerable. Poizon just retreats for now. Sends in more Stalkers, has a comfortable third base, could actually even take a 4th and maybe even a 5th with all of her resources. Will go for the 4th right now, has the upgrade advantage as well. Has the bigger, no, actually not the bigger army supply, but the bigger worker supply as well. So, like I said, in the supplies, it's looking kinda even, but the biggest problem is that Novea, like I said, just now has finally gotten her third base up, desperately wants to take a 4th base as quickly as possible, and her tech is just in shambles. She doesn't really have a tech, so to speak of. I mean, she's still on lair tech with only Roaches and Ravagers, and they only work for that long. While Poizon has already managed to tech up to tier 3, is now even getting the extended thermal lance, because she's probably expecting either Hydras or Lurkers, and even if she isn't expecting that, or even if her opponent is not building that, the additional damage from the Colossi will just help out tremendously against an army with that short of range. And she also has the possibility to build Dark Templars as well. There's actually not even detection in the army, so if Poizon managed to warp in a few DTs, sending them into the fight, Novea would just lose so many units before even realizing that the DTs are around. But now the DTs are here, there's one Overseer in the making, and the transfusing of the hatchery goes on. Manages to save this base, actually, even just barely. Wow, I mean, if this base had died once more, the game would have been over for certain. But the constant harassment has took its toll off of Novea here. And like I said, I mean, the army is just inferior tech-wise to everything that Poizon has here. Poizon with the better upgrades, Poizon with the Blink Stalkers, Poizon with a few DTs that won't really do that much anymore, since there is one Overseer around, but it's not actually very close. And yeah, it seems that Poizon now just finally has had enough, feels confident in engaging this army head-on, and Novea realizes this game is lost, GG, and Poizon takes the 2-0 lead. Newkirk Precinct is our third map of this best of 5. Spawning to the bottom right hand corner in teal, being down 0-2, it's NoveaStar. And leading to though is this woman over here, playing Protoss in green for Psystorm. It's Poizon. Planting out a pylon in order to get a wall off done. A little later on, while Novea is sending your Overlord across the map, of course, in order to see if her opponent wants to go for an early expand or not. Spawning pool in the making. Ooh, actually, okay, never mind. Novea actually going for the early pool here. Wants to cheese her opponent in game 3, but Poizon will probably realize what's going on in just a second here. Is even blocking the hatchery of her opponent. Well, actually in that case the spawning pool is quite nice. But yeah, Poizon just realizes, okay, pool is done, extractor is done. This woman is going to cheese me, so I need to prepare accordingly. So let's see what her reaction is going to be. She actually started with a forge this time around, wanted to actually cannon rush her opponent who didn't expand, so that's a little bit unfortunate. In one case, although right now having a forge available quite early on will probably help her defend the early link push even more easily. I think it might not be a direct push through the front, but I think that Novea will probably rather want to drop inside her opponent's base, or maybe even going for some sort of Nidus Worm play. But yeah, the only thing that's needed now is an eBay or an evolution chamber. Is an evolution chamber here, and with the evolution chamber she will have the possibility to morph her overlords into dropper lords, into overlords that can actually take a certain amount of zerglings within them and transport them into the opponent's base. But yeah, everything else does not really make sense. I mean, she cannot really hope to break through this. With banelings maybe, but she doesn't even have a baneling nest, so that's not really much that she can do right there. Waiting for speed to finish. But yeah, I mean, she will never be able to break through this. There's a cannon, there are 2 pylons that can be photon overcharged with a mothership core out. That's not even in production right now because she's delayed her cybernetics core for quite a bit. But once the mothership core is out, Poizon will even have the possibility to spot banelings that might want to break through even earlier. And well, I don't really know. It seems as if she just wants to break through somehow. I don't know. This drone is still waiting for this pylon to disappear somehow. I don't know. Okay, finally we have the links walking in, but like I said, I mean, there's 3 zealots here, and we have... Okay, the pylons won't really help, but we have the photon cannon as well. Poizon can just easily move the zealots around so that it will be a little bit more difficult for the zerglings to engage all of them. So yeah, and with the additional firepower of the cannon here, I don't really see Novea getting through this. So I mean, like I said, it was scouted very early on. Now all the links actually die. The only thing that Poizon needs to do right now is just re-establish another gateway here. If she was really panicking about something, she could just also wall off this area with another building, so that even if this zealot fell, or even if this zealot fell, sorry, even if this zealot fell, she Novea wouldn't be able to get in anyways. So she has secured, or has made sure that her opponent won't be able to take a base of her own. I think Novea should actually not waste her time tearing down that pylon. If she actually wanted to pin her opponent back and then just maybe get an expansion, I think she would rather take this one and just letting 2 of these links at home tearing down this pylon here. But yeah, she's just sending more and more links across the map. In the meantime, Poizon can of course not expand right now, that would be too problematic, and this is what happens. As I said, Novea now trying to take a different base in order to get economically ahead while keeping her opponent pinned back at home. But Poizon wouldn't be Poizon without a Dark Shrine here, and, well, actually no Robo, I think. No Robo whatsoever, so she will not be able to transport these units across the map in order to sneak them into the into the main base, for example, and then maybe walking in for DTs, cutting down that Spore Crawler as it stands, and then just wrecking havoc inside the main base, because Novea does not even have a lair, so she wouldn't even be able to get an Overseer. Once this Spore Crawler is dead, I mean, there's no detection whatsoever, and she's dead. She's just lost the game. But yeah, so far, Poizon can only send DTs across the map completely. So now trying to finally establish a natural base down here. Novea just sends in a few more Zerglings. Wants to see whether her opponent has already taken the base, might even want to take it down. But yeah, I mean, she will now maybe take down a few of these units, but will lose all of her links in the process there. And yeah, will not even manage to get all of these zealots. Nice micro by Poizon. Poizon now even sending in the DTs. No, actually sending the DTs across the map because she doesn't even need them here. Don't know if Novea has actually realized what was going on. She could have seen the ripples that were moving around, but yeah, I mean, there's no way to save this base. No way whatsoever. This base is a goner. And this base too. Because, like I said, there's no lair. There's only one Spore Crawler that grants vision over here. And yeah, I mean, like I said, this base is a goner. I don't know if Poizon will actually waste her time trying to take it down, or if she rather wants to go into the natural base, or if she rather wants to go into the main base. She splits up her own units while Novea is trying to get something done over at the natural base, but there is a photon cannon and photon overcharge available. So now finally the DTs are chipping away at all 3 bases at once. And even though there's one Spore Crawler here, it's not granting vision of that DT that's so far away, cutting away on that spawning pool. And I mean, what else to say, ladies and gentlemen? There's just nothing that Novea can do. She's not even producing anything. Seems as if she's just sitting in front of her screen cursing. And yeah, I mean, that didn't work out as she planned at all. GG. And Poizon takes the series 3-0.